Of a cell. I will show you the three principal parts of the cell. The first part is what?
Cell membrane.
Cell membrane. Okay? So this is the first principal part of the cell membrane. Now what is the function of the cell membrane? If you remember.
Cell membrane is the outermost covering of a cell. It is a selective permeable membrane which allows certain substances to pass through the cell.
Exactly. So it is a semi-permeable membrane. Now why is it a semi-permeable membrane? Yes.
When we say semi-permeable membrane, ma'am, there is the cell membrane only allows a certain substances to enter and leave the cell.
Alright, in other words, not everything can pass through the cell. So it has to be what?
Selective.
It has to be selected. Why? Why does the cell membrane have to become selective?
Because
Yes.
some substances may harm or may have good effect to some parts of the cell.
Alright. What else? How do big molecules enter the cell? If it is selective, then there are bigger molecules and smaller molecules. There will be no problem when small molecules would enter the cell membrane. However, there will be problem if bigger molecules would enter. So what happens? If bigger molecules like sugar molecules, they are big molecules, right? So how do they enter the cell membrane? They should be facilitated. So they have escorts. You understand? So they have escorts so that they could enter the cell membrane. Now, what makes the cell membrane semi-permeable? Come on. Remember that the cell membrane is bilayered. Meaning to say, there is something between. You remember that? Huh? There are what? There are proteins and phospholipids in between the bilayered cell. And those phospholipids and protein, they serve as the protective mechanism in order for the cell membrane be able to select materials that would enter into the cell membrane. Now, what are the functions other than selective membrane? What are other functions of the cell membrane? It what?
It protects the cell.
Alright, it protects the cell. What else? It maintains the shape of the cell. Alright? Now, we will discuss that further when we come to histology of the cell. Alright. So, the cell membrane is what? Semi-permeable. It allows the entrance of substances. However, it does not allow everything, not unless it is escorted by some protein. Okay. Now, the next principal part, okay, we have it here. The next principal part is what you call the protoplasm. Protoplasm or cytoplasm. So the protoplasm is the outer layer of the cytoplasm. Okay? Now, what is the protoplasm? How does it function? Yes?
It is where the membrane-bound organelles are found.
Alright, very good. So, these membrane organelles are found. What are organelles?
Organelles are ribosomes in the plasma.
So, they are exactly?
Little organs.
Alright. Correct. They are the little organs inside the cell which are embedded in the protoplasm. Now, the protoplasm constitutes the greater bulk of the cell. You understand? It makes up the bigger portion of the cell. Now, the protoplasm can change its state from solid to liquid and from liquid to solid. In short, it almost contains 85% water. And it is made up of two kinds of substances. We have the organic and inorganic substances. Now, water is very important in the cell. Why? What are the properties of the water? Remember? What are the properties of water? Number one property is, it is the
Universal solvent.
alright, exactly, universal solvent. Meaning to say, it can almost dissolve anything. Can almost dissolve anything. What else? What happens when you dip your hand on the water? Yes. Yes.
The water molecules will stick on your hand.
Alright, exactly. So, what property of water is that when the water molecules stick on your hand? Alright, very good. High surface tension. Now we go to the last principal part, and that is the nucleus. Nucleus. Okay? What is the nucleus?
Nucleus is the control size for the cell.
Alright, it is the control center of the cell. It governs the activities of the cell. Okay. Now we will discuss the different organelles that are found on the cell. But in the meantime, you have your clear book. Okay. You have your clear book. Try to find out what are these organelles that are found in the protoplasm.
That means we have here the model of cell. Let's have a recap of the organelles that the cell membrane the cell has. This is the nucleus. So we all know that nucleus is the control center of the cell. And in nucleus we have the cytoplasm. The cytoplasm is the gelatinous or the nutrient matrix. So it is here where the membrane-bound organelles are located. So also we have the mitochondrion. The plural is mitochondria. This is the powerhouse of the cell. And also we have the ribosomes. The ribosomes are the protein synthesis. And do you have additional?
Ribosomes are actually the machine for protein synthesis. Okay.
So the other parts are the smooth endoplasmic reticulum.
Tomorrow we shall discuss the differences between plant cell and animal cell, between prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell. Okay?
So,